Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 3. I wanted to give a quick overview, talk about some things from last week, and then talk about what we have coming for next week. We've got a test, so let's see what we've got in store. All right, first, I wanted to remind you guys about our Padlet. We used it for our introduction the first week, and a couple people introduced themselves in week 2. So glad we've got everybody on board, but now we want to switch gears with this little wall here, and we want to post your questions here. So when you are going through assignments and you have questions, or if you're going through the lectures and you have questions, definitely post them here. That will benefit you, and it will benefit your classmates as well. So I really quick before we jump into the week, I wanted to talk about our graph from last week. So some of you really gave the graph a chance, and I appreciate that. Some of you still weren't so sure about it because it's so different. But I wanted to talk about our approach to data talks from here on in the future. So first, none of them I don't think are going to be super easy at first glance to read. Okay, so I want us to already know that up front. But we're college students. We are in a college math class, and I know that if you give it a little bit of time and you look over it, sometimes it may take you a little while, but you'll figure it out because everything that you need will be on this graph or around the graph in some place. Like some people weren't sure where the day started here, some people weren't sure where it ended, some people thought it looked cluttered. But if you look at this is a clock. Obviously, it's helpful to know how a clock works. But even if you didn't, I think you can still do this. We see this person's water usage over a 24-hour period. The inside shows AM, outside shows PM. So we can see that there's this gap, and it looks like her day starts here. At 6 a.m. on the inside here. And we can see she uses water for going to the bathroom, washing her hands, brushing teeth, drinking, showering, coffee. And so you see the day go on, continued trips to the bathroom. You can tell when she eats. Once we get here to 12, we need to move outside of the clock because it'll be PM. And so it looks like she takes, actually, she's washing dishes at 12 p.m., so maybe right after lunch. And you see the day goes on, and then the day ends right around 10 o'clock. But then if you look, there's this one lone little bathroom trip here. So it looks like she gets up in the middle of the night. If you look at the legend down here, you can tell what each of the icons are. I mean, you may have to enlarge the graph a little bit so that you can see it because this is on a PDF. But I think it shows what the author of this, Kathy Williams, what she meant to show. Some of us worried about we don't know how much water she's using, and I don't think that that's the point in the graph. So that's what we have to do. We have to step back for a second and think, okay, maybe this is not the graph that I would have chosen, but maybe they're not trying to show what I think they're trying to show. So I don't think she's trying to show an exact amount of water usage here. What she's trying to show is the vast amount of time she's using water in one day for one person, just one person. I am in a household. We have 6 people, 2 dogs and 2 cats. And I look at this graph and I'm horrified at the amount of water that we probably use and probably even waste in a day. If this is what the average person uses, oh my goodness, how much water am I using at my house? So I think that is kind of the point, is just to give you that impact. Like some people talked about how the graph was so cluttered, but I think that's the point. You see this clutter represents water usage. And so maybe this would encourage, us to maybe try to be a little bit more conservative with our water usage and that kind of thing. So I think that this graph really does get across what it's trying to get across, especially from some of the views some of you guys had about and your opinions about how this graph worked. So what I did want to talk about is we are going to switch up the way we're doing the data talks for several different reasons. One, I would like this to be a discussion, and basically what's happening is we are posting, but we're not coming back to discuss with me, with anybody else who has offered their opinions about the graph. There's no discussion going on. We basically post ours and then we move on. And that's okay because I did not put a hard requirement where I said I am going to grade you on responses. I encouraged you to come back to respond, and I was hoping that we were going to get a discussion going that way, and that didn't work. So, now that we've had a couple weeks in and we're used to where everything is in the course, we're going to switch it up, and we are going to have a requirement to respond to our classmates. So here's the deal. You are going to view your graph, and we are going to respond in groups. So I've assigned each of you a group. Let me go ahead and show you guys where that group is. So if we go to the weekly folders, and we go to week 3, you'll see the agenda. I've got posted, activities in suggested order, lectures, everything that I normally have. I'm just going to go ahead and go to assignments because that is where the data talk is. So basically, I explain kind of what my thought process is here and how it's going to change. We want to get this discussion going. We want to talk about what is really going on in these graphs. And so here are the things that I have. First, we're splitting up into groups. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see which groups you're in. We've got 4 groups here, so 7 people in each group. So you can figure out which group you're in. And then second, you're going to respond to 2 classmates, at least 2, with something meaningful. Okay, don't just say I agree. Get that conversation going. Third, in order for us to make this response thing work, we've got to actually have initial posts for people to respond to. If everybody waits till Sunday night to post their first post, a conversation is not going to happen. So I would like everybody to post your initial thoughts and responses by Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. I don't think it's that too drastic to have like that due date in the middle of the week because I don't think that it may take you a little while to read the graph, but I don't think it'll take you that long to do that first part of the assignment. And then I would like you to respond in a meaningful way to at least 2 of your classmates by Sunday the 27th. If you respond more, awesome. And then the other thing I just wanted to talk about is focusing on the data. Some of our posts are focusing really hard on just what the graph looks like, and there's very little mention of the data itself. So I would encourage you to look over that graph, and maybe you don't agree, like I said before, with how they have decided to present the data, but step back and think about why they may have chosen the graph that they chose. What does the graph that they have presented show that another type of graph maybe wouldn't have? There's always a reason that they chose the one that they chose. Also, these are graphs, the ones that I'm getting, these are graphs that I'm confident that if you give it time, you can read. And if you are having trouble reading it, that's where the conversations come in. You with your group can talk about, okay, this is what I don't understand about the graph, and another person can jump in and like, this is how I'm seeing it, and just really have a conversation on 1, how to read the graph, and 2, what the data is showing and what it's saying. So I would like us to keep an open mind and stay positive. There's been a good bit of negativity and what I call graph bashing over the first 2 weeks. So just give it a chance, you guys. All right. So I've also attached a grading rubric. So if you click here, you can see how I'm going to grade this. All right, so it's 10 points possible for the discussion board. So you can get the initial post gives you 5 points max, and then your 2 replies gives you 5 points max. And so then you can read through here what would constitute getting 5 points for each one. So full credit, 10 points, and then kind of what the expectations are. So you can read through that. And then I wanted to show you down here the way it's going to look is a little bit different. So you can see that I have the same post 4 times for 4 different groups. So I just make sure that you post to your specific group. Okay, so I mean, you're definitely welcome to read over some of the other groups if you wanted to, but you want to focus your conversation on just your group's conversation. Okay, so there we go. There's that. So let's look at what else we've got going on. Let's look at the agenda for the week. So we are finishing up chapter 2. And there's really only one lecture that you have to go through. That's measures of spread. I do have some extra notes that I've tacked onto it to make sure that I'm covering everything that Newton has in there. So in the homework. So make sure that you read the notes that I have underneath the video. And then we only have 3 assignments. We've got a data talk assignment, our Guru workshop on measures of spread, and then they actually call it measures of dispersion. And then we have a test review because next week we have our first test, and then there's 4 homework assignments. Some of these we already have enough info to be able to work on, I think. This one specifically, this is kind of a review, measures of center, or at least part of it, measures of center, and then spread using technology. But the rest of them do go with the lecture that I have this week, and that's pretty much it. So it's actually a short week as far as the amount of material that you have to do, but what I really want you to focus on is this test review. I'm told by students that the reviews that I post, which are from Newton, are very, very helpful. So I am requiring you to work through the review. It is more of a time commitment thing. So basically, the way I have this set up, and I'll show you. Let me go back to assignments. So the way I have the review set up is you click on the link and you go to the review. And so basically Newton keeps track of how long you're working on the review. So basically for every 6 minutes you spend in the review, you get 1 point. The assignment is worth 10. So basically you want to work for at least 60 minutes in the reviewing. Okay, let me show you what the review will kind of look like since it's on Newton, and give you kind of an idea of what to expect. Just give me a second. I have to go in the student view for you to be able to see it. So basically what it does is it takes you to the Newton page, and basically it gives you a review list. And so these are all the topics that we have covered throughout the course. And so you can work on each individual topic. Now, right now it's initially set to organize itself based on the mastery on associated homework. So basically it's kind of organizing it to give you what you need to master that you haven't mastered yet first, so that you make sure you're covering that. You can also organize it by mastery on review assignment. So basically as you work through the review assignment, I think it reorganizes things. You can work on it. You can organize it with the last activity on associated homework or the original order of the assignments, and it's up to you. You don't have to work on it in any order. You can just pick and choose what you want to work on. So if you feel like you're comfortable with histograms, but you really, really need to focus on linear regression, you can spend the bulk of your time in there. But I would really encourage you to go through the review so that you are familiar with what will be on the test, and so that you can just do really well on that first exam. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. I think I think for the most part, that's pretty much it. Like I said, we've got the Data Talk assignment, our Guru workshop, and then we've got the review, and then we've got 4 homework assignments. And then I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to the agenda. Yeah, basically 7 things to do this week other than taking notes. Don't forget that you can ask questions on the Padlet wall. Don't forget that I do have office hours here on campus from 1 to 3:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You don't have to make an appointment. You can just show up. If you would like to meet with me online, you do need to make an appointment for that, just so that I know to log into Zoom for that. We also have the STEM Center that's actually right outside my office. My office, by the way, is B206, but the STEM Center is right next to my office, literally. It's right next door. And they have a tutoring, I believe, from 10 to 5 every day, Monday through Thursday. They also offer online tutoring during those hours and outside of those hours. You just need to make an appointment. If you have any questions about any of that, definitely let me know. And anyway, I hope to hear from you guys this week. Have a good one.